Today we are going to tell you everything about biodiversity, what it is for, what we're doing with it, where we can find it, what its cost, and of course everything in relation to Colombia. Hello everybody, thanks for watching our video. Again, Sarah with me today from the University National. Sarah, where are we today?
Hello, well today we are at the Institute of Natural Sciences here in Bogota, the National University of Colombia. This is one of the most important places for research in biodiversity in Colombia, and specifically this place is the museum that is inside of the institute.
So the whole world talks about biodiversity,
Yes.
but what is biodiversity actually?
What do you think biodiversity is?
To me, it's like when I have many different animals in the same spot.
That's the common perception about biodiversity, but it's just a part of biodiversity. That's the part that corresponds to species diversity, but we also have other parts of biodiversity that are ecosystems, species, genetic, and functional. So ecosystems is all at big scale, is all that concerns to landscapes and what is generated by species interactions with the environment. The other component is species, that is the one you referred, that is just to take into account all the different living animals and plants and living organisms that are on Earth. The other component is the genetic diversity. The genetic diversity is all the variability inside an individuum. The best example of that is the human being. For example, here you're with your Nordic genes and here with my Colombian genes, but we are coming from the same species, the Homo sapiens. So we are an example.
Are we coming from the same
genetic
species?
diversity.
What do you think? Please write in the comments if you think we are the same species.
I think we are. And the most recent component is the functional diversity, that is how these living organisms and ecosystems functions. So the taxonomic identity is not that important, but the function that that species or organism or ecosystem has into the earth.
Okay, and so Colombia is known as the country with the second most biodiversity in the world after Brazil. So what are the drivers for biodiversity and where can we find it?
We have several drivers for biodiversity, historical and in the present time. So historical drivers are all that are related with evolution, evolutionary process like migration, speciation, extinction, and the current drivers that are spatial and temporal drivers. So temporal, related with the past, but in the present moment, the time of speciation, the time of changes in climate, the time of things happen, that determines what is going to happen with the diversity or the variation you have among living things. Mm-hmm. And the spatial driver is the one related with how species are distributed in the space. And we have around the world two environmental gradients. Those are altitudinal gradients, the changes that we have along elevation, and latitudinal gradients, that are the changes in climate and characteristics from the equator to the polar regions. That's why, for example, we have the greatest biodiversity in the tropics. Why is that? Because in that region of the Earth, you have the biggest mountains, which gives altitudinal variation, so a lot climatic and environmental conditions changing. but at the same time, a very homogeneous and stable environment, because in the tropics you don't have seasonal variations so strong as in the northern or southern parts of the earth. So that maintains an equilibrium that makes with biodiversity explodes. Colombia, we have the Andes here, so we have that elevation gradient, very strong, and we are placed in the middle of the tropics. So those things together make us a hotspot of biodiversity.
What is the value of such a biodiversity?
It has a value per se because the interactions of life maintains the life on Earth. Just when human beings started to realize that their impact was strong on living systems on Earth, biodiversity was conceived in scientific terms. So in that time, we started to see the economic importance of maintenance of biodiversity. Why? Because everything alive is money. Money in terms of services that we can use and goods for human beings.
And in Colombia, with this huge biodiversity, what is unique as an offer?
What is unique in Colombia is that we have around 9,100 endemic species that only occurs in Colombia. And besides that, we have the 60% of one of the most special ecosystems on Earth, that is the páramo. In the ranking of biodiversity, because yes, there is a ranking, Colombia is the first in orchids and birds. It's the second in plants, amphibians, and the third in palm trees, and the fourth in mammals. So yes, we are winning by every side you look at it.
So that means wherever you go in Colombia, you can find a huge amount of different animals. So it's perfect for nature tourism. Colombia is a great destination for bird watching, for safari in the llanos, for lots of stuff. How is tourism related to the biodiversity and conservation in Colombia?
Here, we are losing our diversity very fast, principally because oil extraction, mineral extraction, and deforestation. Recently, the government is recognizing the biodiversity of Colombia and tourism as a key aspect of strategy to conserve our natural richness. So that's why tourism is important.
So, in reality, in an example, how can tourism really help to maintain this great biodiversity we have here in Colombia?
Translates directly into money. So people need something to live, and the opportunity to take care of an environment or an species that people from other parts of the world are wanting to see by coming here become as an opportunity to take an economical advantage of that, and they are helping to two things: to preserve the area of that species or environment or ecosystems, and at the same time they are having something to live by their own, having a job or money or income.
In Colombia, what are the most biodiverse regions?
The Andean region and the Amazon region. Also the Pacific region with the Choco forest, that is one of the most biodiverse hotspots in the world. The Andean region because of the elevational gradient, so we have a lot of ecosystem changes with elevation. And the Amazon because of the space, because it's big, and inside the Amazon there are different ecosystems also.
Okay. Imagine that. You go to the Amazon, you shake a tree and over 130 species of bugs fall down on you. This is called biodiversity. Thanks for watching our video. If you're interested in learning more about biodiversity, visit our homepage www.sula.com.co. If you're happy with our production, please subscribe our channel, give us likes. If you have questions, whatever, write them down in the comments. And yeah, I hope to see you soon here in Colombia, and enjoy this fantastic biodiverse country. Bye-bye.
Bye.